Okay, I want to welcome everybody to today's event. Um, really have the privilege of May's not here yet, but we'll do some introductions here shortly. But today, the topic is how to use your home care technology platform with Cinch with no integration required. That there's value to do this today, and we're going to share kind of three case studies, starting with Gina and I when we were owners of Ware Senior Care and how we did it, and then want to give some airtime to Rob to talk about what he's doing with Cinch and his home care platform, and then May. So always like to think about learning objectives and what we're trying to accomplish today. And this is very straightforward that what we're trying to do today is the main message is Cinch can be used today without an integration with the home care platform. That'd be great in the future. Or there are integrations. We do have planned integrations, but there's value in the platform today. So how do you do it? And that's what we're going to cover. So we're going to start off with uh, sharing our experiences when we were Ware Senior Care, and we built Cinch while we were owners. And Micah was the main administrator for our company, and he was the main tech support for Cinch as we rolled it out. And then we're going to talk with Rob and May, and I'm just going to add, very simple, how you guys getting it done? And then we'll do a Q&A so you can fire questions to the three of us. And then I want to cover the benefits, because I think it's very interesting to look at the benefits, because there's more than the eye can see with the benefits here. So why use Cinch now? Pictures are 1,000 words, you know. I just love, don't you love pictures? We can put, I used to get picked on when I worked for IBM in my old life about how I use so many words. I'm like, you got to cut it down, Tim. Pictures are better. Um, the reason with Cinch, what we experience, number one, why we do this is for the residents, your clients. They're happy. I mean, I like to say, people say, what's the elevator pitch for Cinch? And honestly, the the heartfelt answer is Cinch in the arms of a home care agency owner, the home care agencies, and they can provide and improve the quality of life for seniors, which then extends their ability to stay where they want to stay. That's what it's all about. And for you as an agency owner, you could sleep at night. Oh my God, this business is a real business with a high GP. I'm brilliant. And from a revenue perspective, what it did for us, it diversified our revenue, and we weren't solely dependent on traditional care. We actually then, the portfolio was our community-based care, our traditional care. We then started a staffing business because we were doing community-based care, you know, so it opened up all kinds of doors. We had a happy executive director. If you listen to our executive directors, you hear the game changer. We He could sleep at night, and the staff could rely on us. But mainly, the main benefit is the caregivers. This is a picture of Sharon Hayter, one of our favorite caregivers. She's still with the key. And with COVID, what we did is we sent out little ribbons you can see in the corner. It says Aware Senior Care Home Care Hero, because they were heroes. They were providing care to people with COVID. And we said, go out and take a selfie. We got bombarded with smiling caregivers, and Sharon is just one of the best. And she's also featured on our website, by the way, and Evaluate Swints, which she calmly shows clocking in with the Key app and quickly going over our app going, piece of cake. And so I thought it appropriate to feature her. But that's what we're in it, man. This is what we're doing, So we're very proud of Aware's roots. The team, it's all about our caregivers. They were amazing. We had a great run. And the background, we in 2017, if you listen to our story on the website on Evaluate Cinch, we were thrust into community care, didn't have a clue what to do. We quickly figured out it was way different than traditional. And Gina turned to me and said, we're either out of here, you give me a solution. And luckily, I have a lot of developer friends. We got on it. And of April of 2020, we rolled out Cinch version 1. And you know what? The damn thing worked. And we were deployed it across 3 communities, 140 clients. And the revenue figure generated from that This business alone was 1.4 million, which represented 33% of our business. I was shocked. And it's its own little world. And if once you get it humming, and it's not easy to get up and running, but once you get it up and running and you tune it, it kind of runs itself if you're doing things right. And we've got a couple, and Rob and May are doing just that. So how do we do it? That this is the big picture, is we we leverage both platforms for what they do best. And it's not what we found, I think in life, there's not one silver bullet or one solution. It's about building an ecosystem. So we leveraged WellSky. It's a great product. There are a lot of great products out there besides WellSky. I could name a bunch. Um, we leveraged WellSky for what it does best, traditional care. And we just simply created, we took a IL property, made it a client. And then we just attach caregivers to it, caregivers and their shifts. And the brilliance about that is now we can do payroll. That big picture, that was WellSky. And as Gina brilliantly says, how it all worked is WellSky tells you where to go, and we tell you what to do. So the caregiver, picture this, has their tablet or phone. They go to the building, they clock in on WellSky, they fire up Cinch, and away they go. And the whole show is in Cinch. So in essence, Cinch managed the total operation of short visit model. You know, you hear terms like shared care, stack care, talking about 7, 15, 30-minute visits.
And they're
And
visits that were built just like traditional care with client-specific tasks. They're not bundled tasks because not everybody wants the same thing in their morning visit. So just like you do traditional care, Cinch gives you the ability to make those visits exactly what the client wants and nothing else, and for as long as they want, just like traditional care.
yeah, we kept the design simple. We just tried not to change the world, but just kind of encapsulate what you do in the traditional, but make it work. But the real secret sauce here, and the when you look at the development of the technology, was we recognized we needed a team approach. We all know today's caregiver shortage, it's about doing more with less. And traditional is kind of siloed where a caregiver is assigned to a client. We didn't do it that way. We assign a caregiver a list of people to go see. And the cool thing is the application enables the caregiver and the staff to see everybody. And a caregiver is happens to be late. Does that happen? I don't know about you, Rob. The caregivers late their shifts sometimes.
Let me put it on mute so I can laugh really loud. Yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's life. You know, your clients
Yeah.
take a long time to get their socks on or whatever it may be. And now that delay ripples affects the entire schedule. And with our team approach, caregivers see what's going on. They can message each other real time on the app. They can jump in and take the other's visit, and back office doesn't have to do a thing. That is the one of the main differentiators between us and the traditional care. So in CINCH CCM, basically the client caregiver profiles, the caregiver shifts. We did the assessments, which segued into a care plan, which segued into a visit plan. The visit is basically you're going at this time, and as Gina said, these are the list of things that the client needs assistance with. Manage the whole thing. You have an admin portal, and then you've got a caregiver mobile app. The caregiver app is simple. Things are in a list. I think you'll hear more from Rob and May, if we have May, about what the caregivers think of the application. And in terms of the revenue, very simple. We had QuickBooks. There's a very elegant interface with Cinch. So I managed and knew the numbers, and we did AR, AP, all in QuickBooks. But you'll find Rob's doing it differently, and so is May. You do what you need to do, what works for your team. So this is very easy to set up and administer. And the way we did it, and I love this picture because May will remember this. We had multiple team meetings where I said, okay, here's the battle plan for Abbotswood. And that one property, we had 93 clients. Gina had to do 93 assessments when we took it over. With Gina, we had a team of nurses. But that was a massive operation because we had on the like morning shift, Mike will remember this, 8 caregivers. And those 8 would huddle in the lobby and they'd have a team meeting, all armed with their mobile devices. We had a caregiver lead and said, today's agenda, and boom, they'd all deploy. And off they went and they did their jobs. We developed a methodology. We clearly identified what is done in each product by role. And Gina, being the nurse she is, and state regulations, May will tell, we had a policy and a procedure for everything. And we did that for a reason. So everybody knew each other's job, processes were documented, and we cross-trained so there was no single point of failure. But once you do that, it becomes like brushing your teeth. I think in the morning we all get up, we're not thinking about technique on brushing our teeth. We're probably thinking about our home care business or whatever while we're brushing your teeth. And the point is, it just works because you've taken the time to train everybody to execute, and it works. And that's that we did was how do we assess? How do we do the care? Everything was documented. And then Michael will attest that he worked with me. We worked to get the big picture between QuickBooks and WellSky. We knew what data was where, we aggregated it and managed it. And with our bookkeeper accountant. And we used QuickBooks as our main account. So it really made it easy because the CINCH data was in QuickBooks as well. Could you do this in WellSky? Absolutely. Rob's doing it, and so is May, in terms of aggregating the information. So it can be done. And in the webinar, I had mentioned in the learning objectives that you're going to learn how to set up the community, do the things we just showed you. For time's sake, we have a video on under the Evaluate Cinch where I talk about this process and I outline it. And if anybody's interested in this call about how do you do it, you can schedule a meeting with us. We'd be glad to show you. In fact, we even made up our own dummy home care screenshots so we can show you how to do this without having to log into WellSky, for example, or ERSP or Access Care or whatever the home care platform is. They're all built the same. Fundamentally, the home care platform, you have clients, you got caregivers, you have communities. It's just that they're different models. You got a Ford, you got a Chevy, you got, they are kind of all, but there's a fundamental design that's followed, and we can work side by side with any of the platforms that are there. But just so WellSky we're heavies on, that was our baby, and we knew it inside and out. So we kind of have a lot of knowledge about it and what it does and what it can't do and so forth. So before I get to Rob, I like the iceberg, and maybe it's because I was a submarine and there was, and I can tell a sea story about coming up under an iceberg above the marginal ice zone in Russian waters. We were okay. But I love this because what we found out, we didn't realize that there's more benefits to this than we really initially thought. And at the top line, we're all numbers people. When I say game changer, it was a game changer. It absolutely was a game changer. It added 33% to our revenue. We had extremely high caregiver and client satisfaction. Caregivers like this way of life. And to the point, there's many of the caregivers we hired are still working for May. They are at Abbotswood. So the retention numbers are higher because they get paid higher and they like it. The community embraces them and they get ingrained.
And they have steady hours. They don't have to worry about losing their hours.
Right. And maybe Rob and May both they're very good at, they can comment on what they've seen in their business. We also got referrals for traditional care, especially when they come back from the hospital 24/7. Traditional cases would pop up. So it boosted up and then we did such a great job. Some of these buildings have AL along with memory care, and they struggle to staff those sides. So in 2 buildings, we not only did IL, but we staffed their AL. And May became really adept at a staffing business.
And May is on the call. So just so you know,
We were ready to fill in for you, May. So, and I'm sure, it'd be interesting to get Rob's perspective on what this did to his expanding business. But That's why I like this. And bottom line, in today's caregiver shortage world, with Cinch in the way, this enables you to do more with less. And that's really a key. We know it's tough to hire caregivers, retain caregivers. We have more clients to take care of. So you have a technology or solution where you can do more with less. That's kind of
Mhm.
a very good thing. So um, I'm Rob, I think I'm going to start with you since May kind of we'll let May take a couple breaths and kind of but let me introduce two
Right.
uh two very near and dear, Rob Reister and his wife. That's his wife Dee in that picture. Uh, Rob has a major operation in Kentucky, part of the Homewell Care Services family, 7 communities. And we came across Rob, and when we did a cold call, you put in there, why did you contact us? And Rob says, well, you called me, and I loved it. It just cracked me up. But we bonded immediately, and Rob's kind of like, where were you?
Yeah, yeah.
Really needed you.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but and then also May Moses. May is the regional staffing manager for the Key. We hired May back. We can go on about May, but she's got a major role and extremely familiar with Cinch and community. And what I've asked the two of them to do is talk about how they do it. We gave a benchmark there, but I'd like, and Rob, just to kind of talk a little bit about your operation, the scope of the operation, and kind of how and Rob's a Well Sky user. Take it away, Rob.
Okay, I tell you, just a little background. I started doing independent community care going on 3.5 years now. And in the beginning of this, community care, we had packages of service, and we were tracking the services that the caregivers provide the residents the old-fashioned way. We had a clipboard um, with a daily sheet that the residents would have in their room, and the caregiver would go into that room each day and document that they provided those services, and then the clipboard would stay in the client's room for reference. Well, as you can tell, that's one piece of paper, and then you multiply that 365 days a week. I mean, a year, right? So I started having a document problem, as you can imagine, over a couple years of accountability. So I was looking for document management help, because I mean it was getting really out of whack. And then Tim and I crossed paths, and I literally remember going home to my wife that day when I had my first Zoom with them and his staff, and I was like, oh my God, it just had manna from heaven. It answered my prayers, because I don't know, can I share my screen, or
Yeah, I can
can,
stop the share. Yeah,
I'm going to show you
absolutely.
something.
Yeah.
If you let me share my screen real quick. Okay. This, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Not
Mike,
yet. You should be able to though right now, Rob.
All right, let me see here. I'm looking here, share my screen. There it is. Got it. Okay. There you go. Okay. That was my document management system right there. Okay. Now, that is just for 6 months and one community. I have built 6 communities now. And I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with this? So when they approached me, it was just like, it changed my business model completely. Okay. So what my challenge I thought was going to be able to kick off this new operating system called Cinch and the app. And I thought it was going to be difficult to kick off, but it was the furthest thing from that, because the caregivers every day have their phone in their hands, whether I want them to or not. So it wasn't something new to them or foreign. So they love the app. They love the interaction of the app. So it was easy for us to kick this off in 6 different communities, because they're used to these apps anyway. And the way they built the app is it's very compatible or familiar to the Well Sky app because a lot of our caregivers will work in private clients as well. So it's very similar in that process. So that was helpful to us to kick that off pretty quickly. And I saw the benefits immediately as far as going into the Cinch app dashboard on my laptop, and I can track and see literally on time what tasks are being done and by who. It was just a complete game changer for us. To give you just a story this week, and I told Tim this, I look at Cinch not only as a management program for me, and I look at it as an insurance policy. You know, it's part of my business because there's a lot of safety in there. And this week, we had an issue where we had a caregiver in a client's room at 8 o'clock in the morning. They were in there doing 3 tasks before lunch. Okay. Got a call from the general manager of the community. Said, hey, I got one of my residents down here saying that there's $100 missing out of his wallet. It was there this morning when he went back from breakfast. I said, really? I got on my Cinch app immediately. I saw who was in that community, in that client's room by time. Because remember, that client, he confirmed the shifts because all our clients know you have to confirm it, hit the button. So he did that. So he confirmed that that caregiver was in there 3 times that morning. So I said, okay. So I sent that information immediately to the building manager. And I said, we need to find out who else was in that room. Come to find out, it was his own housekeeping staff that took the $100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, that is powerful for me because now I have some protection, to something to go by, not just a piece of paper. So as far as the utilization of it, as an owner, for me, no matter where I'm at, I could be in Florida at one of my communities or Indiana or Kentucky. I can go in there and see what's happening on an hourly basis and make tweaks and calls if I need to and stay on top of it. So it actually helps me be plugged in to all my different communities.
But Rob, you said you're in 6 communities. I'm trying to think how long you've been with us. How long did it take you
We
to
started in December. I think you and I first started talking, and I think within 2 or 3 weeks we had Cinch and everywhere.
Right. And how long did
Yeah.
it take your staff to get used to it? Like your office staff and the
It took,
caregiver?
well, it took us about a week. Yeah, it took us about a week to take some of our information in from WellSky, because we still use WellSky for certain things, and to bring that over into the app. So it took us about a week to put it over into the Cinch management system. But after that, it's fine. But that first week, it was a little labor intensive putting information in, which that's to be expected. But once we got up and running, you know, when we get a new client in the community, we load that client information in WellSky, and we just pop over to the Cinch dashboard and put them in there.
Yeah.
That's great. And you have about 100 clients. So that was pretty labor intensive week to get, to
Yeah,
get
because
everything running.
it was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot.
Well,
And a
that
couple of those communities,
yeah, go ahead,
yeah, a
Rob.
couple of those communities are fairly new. We only have probably 20 clients in 2 of those communities right now. So those are they're fairly new.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And one thing I think, Rob, just to contrast the difference the way we did it, because we did virtually everything in Cinch. You're still doing the assessments and care plan in ClearCare, and then you take that info
Yeah,
and then you bake the visit plan in Cinch. Is that correct?
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put everything, no, we put the basic information in we need for scheduling and billing, payroll and so forth in the WellSky. And then we just do the care plans and the tasks and everything into the Cinch app.
Okay. If I was a owner, I may be concerned about that. Is in terms of the training and that process, is it difficult, or
Um,
once you got it, it's like a repeatable process?
Yeah, Micah, in the beginning, I was on the phone with him a couple of times, which was great because he took my calls and walked me through a few things because it's kind
Yeah.
of clunky in the beginning, but then it's repetitive, man. Once you start doing it a day or two, it's fun. It becomes a game, really. And you guys did a great job as far as making it familiar to the user. because it's very similar to the Well Sky Clear Care
Yeah.
platform. So it makes it really nice to utilize. And what's going to be great, hopefully someday we can get that integration. So if anybody's listening, let's get that done. You know,
Yep.
because listen, I'll tell you something. You've done an amazing job with this product that you call Cinch. It literally has changed my business. And it's, like I said, I view the expense as an insurance policy. Just for that one example, I could give you probably 2 or 3 more things like that over the last just month that it's helped me as far as manage my business.
That's great. But, in all honesty, there's some caregivers that don't like it for that same reason. Because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
there's account before they can kind of slough it off or go off and document it the
Right.
way they want
Yeah.
it.
Well,
But
I'll give you a prime example
can't
of
do
that.
that.
Exactly. You're right. I give you a prime example. You see these notes. Well, this chart and those care notes, the daily log, so to speak, we're in the client's room. Well, I can't access it.
Yeah.
Right,
If I'm in Florida, I can't access my Kentucky notes
right.
like that.
Yeah.
So, but now I can. I can within 30 seconds if I need to. So the accountability for the caregivers is through the roof. And
Yeah.
the clients, what I found when I kicked this off, I went to each and every client, and the clients love it because they feel like they're part of the care service part now. Because our caregivers literally are turning their phone around. Did I get your medication reminders correct? Yes, confirm that for me. See, there's that interaction, and the clients like that interaction. Before, the caregiver's just doing this chart, med reminder, check. That was it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but now the clients like that interaction, and also the building managers that I'm dealing with, they love that too because it shows as the owner that I am going above and beyond to make sure that their residents are getting the care that they're asking for.
Yeah.
So my relationship with the building owners are getting stronger because they see what we're trying to accomplish. It makes them feel comfortable promoting us in their
That
community.
that's the key. Yeah, the executive directors that we work with, they were just awesome. David called it game changer. And the thing that it was peace of mind that
Oh,
feedback he got from the families is caregivers were going in, previous agencies going in and they had to call out someone new and the client was telling them what to do.
mhm,
They had no clue.
yeah,
And then all that kind of went away with the cinch system. And he said caregivers show up, they know what they're doing. They know what they got to do. Even the newbies that they got they got community notes and the notes that are specific to the client.
yeah.
So
And I'm glad you brought up the fact that that's what I loved about with the Cinch app, it being flexible. It allowed me. That's one of the concerns I had in the beginning, is Micah, is okay. Look, I don't want to change what I'm doing. I'm looking for a partner to kind of enhance what I'm doing, and that's what I really tip my hat to you guys because you allowed me to do that. What I'm using ClearCare for or Well Sky, it works for me for the billing process and the schedule. It's been great. And this has just been like sprinkles, on an ice cream cone. So it works well right now, and it's just going to get better. That's the best part because, like anything, as time goes on, you're improving this cinch. You're improving cinch. So I think it's a win for everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rob. Thank you that I think you're going to hear kind of similar things from May. So I wanted to segue into you, May. If you would stop your share up, we'll just kind of leave it here. May,
Yeah, May's on the call.
May, you here?
You have to unmute yourself. Can we unmute?
Well, Micah,
Yeah,
no,
May, you should be able to just hit 6 there.
Or May?
May's having
A technology day.
believe me, there's more to this. If she's got doing home care and they don't have internet, this might be not a great
Yeah.
time.
Apologize. Yeah, she's calling in, so hold on.
Get my screen share stopped, Micah.
Your screen share stopped.
You're good.
Yes.
You're good.
Sorry, I'm messaging her right now just to make sure.
Yes, you can, yeah. So,
Well,
yeah, May was one of the key people when we owned the agency that ran the community care. Because as we took on communities, you see you can layer different lead caregivers, a community care coordinator. So they do the staffing for the buildings. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, and then part of what when we work together, like with Rob and all our clients, is talking about how you structure your staff, right? And what they're responsible for, because that's really important, right? It just doesn't. Here's the tool, and you got to have the right people in the right seats with the right. So May was cool. She had oversight over the community care court. We had community care coordinators, and then our traditional care. I think we ended up having like at least where our hours were, we had 4 schedulers. Um, she oversight, and she was amazing. She was kind of picking on me because we got her into that staffing business and was like, wait a minute, that wasn't my job description. Um, but I said, but wow, look at
You're really good at it.
the caregivers love it. One caregiver came into our office and she had Waltonwood. And I go, oh, you work for Waltonwood. I'm Tim Murray. She goes, I'm your caregiver, Tim. I'm like, oh my God. You know, she
Well, it's the
was,
same attributes, the same kind of pace and working in independent and community care as it is in assisted living. They get to see multiple people, and that caregivers love that.
well,
They enjoy it.
one of the EDs, another friend of our Matt, he's Atria. He said, it doesn't matter what uniform you're wearing. You're part of our family.
Yeah.
And wow, what a heartwarming thing to say there. That your caregivers are part of our family. And it doesn't matter which they're wearing the Atria today, and then now they've got the Aware polo shirts.
It's about
So
coaching team. It's about being part of a team in community care,
right.
where home care is very much one-on-one. It's one-on-one. So we coach a lot of teamwork with community care, and that's what makes it really successful.
Yeah.
So should we,
Is May having
yeah,
I
okay.
asked her to hang up and try calling it again. She was trying to unmute it, it just wasn't working. So
Okay.
okay.
Well,
Any questions?
I think what we'll give you an overview.
Mhm.
We know May's operation soup to nuts. So, and if she pops in, then maybe we can get her in a Q&A with Rob so you can fire some specific questions. But the 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 key has 3 communities. Um, the largest one is our old Abbotswood. I think today there's May trying to get in. There's somewhere around 80 in that one building alone. So it's a very big building. They're WellSky users. They took what we did in the beginning, and the only difference is they kind of morphed into
Can
what
you hear me
Rob's
now?
doing.
I
we can
can
hear you
Yeah.
now, May.
Can you hear me now? Oh, great.
May, I was tap dancing for you.
Oh, my goodness. What
Yeah.
a day
Oh, well,
in
we were,
home care.
oh, bet. It
Yeah.
really is, right?
Yeah. Well, May, we were just doing some fill in. We told them what we hired you working together at Aware. We gave them the Aware topology, and you've expanded that use. So if you could introduce yourself to this great group, and then just say a few words about how you're using Cinch with WellSky. She's another WellSky user.
Okay. Hey, everyone. I'm May Moses, the original staffing manager for the Key. I started here with Tim and Gina at Aware in 2017, I think.
Yeah.
I always say I'm the 11th now because I started on Valentine's Day. So, God, that was a long time ago. But I started in scheduling, and I oversee now about 3 states: Maryland, Virginia, and North Carolina. Oh, and DC as well in scheduling.
Wow.
For our North Carolina office, we have one big community and one medium-sized community, as I would say. And then we just acquired another one last week. We have about 120 something residents in there and over 30 caregivers. One community, we do staff 24/7, and we do about 4,000 to 5,000 visits a month in one of our communities. I do use Cinch. Could not use Cinch. I don't know how we would survive without it, honestly. I think the other home care agency that was in there was using paper, which that was a mess. Yeah, it was a mess. But we do use Cinch, and we do use ClearCare or WellSky, as you know, as well. to view our visits and for the caregivers. We do have an app that our caregivers do clock in and clock out of WellSky, but once they come into the building, they clock in and clock out and pick up an iPad, and that's where they complete all of their visits in the CINCH app, which is very, very easy. Very, very user friendly, even more than our WellSky app for our caregivers for the one-on-one team. So that's a little bit about myself and how I use ClearCare and and CINCH together.
Do you ever have any trouble with connections, working in these communities as far as being online or losing connections when they're trying to document?
That's a
Not
loaded
with the CINCH.
That's a loaded question.
No, not with the CINCH app. We've never had any issues with that. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Thanks,
we
May.
can. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, we've
we-
never had issues with that. Now, with our WellSky, we have had some issues with the caregivers having trouble completing tasks for the one-on-one clients that we have in communities.
Right.
But the CINCH app has an offline mode, I think, that our caregivers can use if there's no signal. But we've never had any issues with it. So I don't have to worry about it.
Good. That's good.
But what I really like about using the CINCH, I can see a clear picture of what is going on in my communities. I can see if I have a call out, if I need to replace a shift, or can I just move the visits around? Do I need someone to come in at 12 o'clock instead of coming in at 10 o'clock to assist, with care? How many visits can I add at a certain time, and how many caregivers do I need for those time frames? That's what I like it. In my other communities in Virginia that we're trying to bring CINCH on, right now they cannot see the whole picture. So we don't know how many caregivers we have that are actually, how many visits we have, and how many caregivers do we need for those visits. So that's why I have a challenge, and I'm working through that in those other communities. But the fact that I can see the whole picture of what my visits are, what my open times are for clients, because a client can call and say, hey, can I have a visit at 8:30? It's like, yes, you sure can. Or I don't have an 8:30, but I have an 8:15. Would that work? We are able to communicate that with the client very fast. If I had all of those visits in ClearCare, there's no way we will be able to do that.
Yeah, it's hard to.
No way.
Well, you should know this, May, because you helped design the application. I mean, really.
Yeah.
I mean, remember huddling in the, together and say how we want this to work, and with Sarah, who's still there, one of our favorites too. She's a nurse now. She was a scheduler originally, but the visual big picture was really the key. We just couldn't get that, and it's really not like WellSky. The other technology we looked at is very similar because of the way they're designed in a kind of a silo, caregiver to client, and you can't kind of get that instant big picture kind of calendar look. So we didn't make this a webinar, a demo of CINCH webinar. So we just want to really kind of focus on, get a feel for May and Rob, and I think the scope of their operation. This is not small, and they're able to do it. And that's a big message. So if you're an owner on here and you're going into a 30-person community, we got your back. We got your back.
Oh, yes, yeah.
This is kind of like skiing where you've got, blue square and then advanced. Rob's this is advanced. May got you imagine managing 8 caregivers on shift simultaneously. That's big time. In that building. And so anyway, at this point, I want to really pause. I'll do some closing remarks, or just want to share some, but questions for May and Rob. You've got the right people. They've seen everything. And yeah, Mike is doing a poll. If you all would look at that on future webinars that we are thinking of doing, because we just love to solve problems. And and so here's some of our ideas for webinars we could put together content for. If you would take a look at that and vote on them, that would be great. Michael, we can keep going, right? They could just do it at their own leisure or post.
Absolutely, yeah. This
Post
just
the,
gives you an opportunity to kind of take a look at that. But we do have a question. It's a long one, so bear with me. So it says, can you provide a specific example of how WellSky is used for scheduling for an independent living community, and then billing while using CINCH for specific client scheduling ADLs?
So who do you want to
Yes,
answer?
I
Go
can,
ahead.
I can,
Go ahead,
I
man.
can talk about how we did it. In our Abbotswood community, we use WellSky.
We lose May.
Are you still there, May? I wonder if she accidentally hit mute on her phone.
that would be.
So,
Do you want to text her, Micah?
Yeah.
So what you do is in WellSky, you put Abbotswood in as the client. So there's one client in Abbotswood in WellSky called Abbotswood, the community name. And then you put the client visits for Abbotswood are the caregiver shifts. We have 3 of them working 7 to 3. So all the times the caregiver works are listed as the client visit in WellSky. That keeps payroll. It keeps all your caregivers all in the same place. So Abbotswood had, I don't know, probably close to 20 visits a day with all the caregivers that were scheduled around the clock. So then when they went to CINCH, we said you can set up CINCH several different ways. We set it up a pay per visit. So a completed visit populated the client's invoice. And so the invoices were then pulled into QuickBooks. If you completed the visit, it went into the client's invoice. You can also set it up as a daily charge, a weekly charge, a monthly charge. So there's different ways to do it. We've looked at lots of different ways. So that's how it is. So CINCH captures the revenue, and WellSky captures the payroll. So they were being paid, they were non-billable but payable visits for the client. That was the community name.
It worked very nicely. Rob, you're in terms of your pricing, you do monthly pricing?
No.
Or
no. What we do is that we do packages. The clients enroll in packages, and that package we charge per day.
Got it. Okay.
Based on what the client needs, we charge per day. The way that we use the WellSky or ClearCare is that we have a community called Heartland Hills, and then you put it on a schedule. Heartland Hills is the client, and then you staff the Heartland Hills the client with your caregivers and in the shifts. So our shifts run from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So it's 24/7, and it staffs that client Heartland Hills. So that's how it helps us do the tracking of the scheduling and payroll. Very simple, easy, no worries there. And then we just simply put the clients underneath that building. If I could share my screen, I could show that to you, but we just put the client underneath that building, and then we charge them per day. So it's very easy tracking wise.
And then you have
for billing purposes.
Right. And you have all the completed task sheets for your documentation that's all in CINCH. You've got everything.
That's it. And we use CINCH for that.
And to Rob's point, we're learning and adapting CINCH to work with these business models, like Rob's business model. We didn't try to change Rob. It's working. Can we enhance it, like you said? And now we've got some new things we're working on in terms of packaging and clever ways to bundle things together. Recognizing some task pricing is good. So there's not a silver bullet, but there's a smart way to do it, and we're enhancing our product to look at that. And our product has something called hybrid. Like an electric vehicle, hybrid is we do short visit care and we do traditional care, all under the same umbrella. So that is now available in CINCH.
We had a number of clients that had 8 hours during the day and then just pop in visits overnight. So they had both.
For me, I think, again, it's the flexibility that you guys have built into this system that allows anyone that's watching this that has the intention of going into the independent living community business, is that they don't necessarily have to stop what they're doing to accommodate you guys. I mean, you have the flexibility to pick and choose what you have to make your business, and I love that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if anything, if I was out there as a new business owner or trying to get into the independent, it would excite me. Okay, wait a minute, I got a buffet here. Okay, I just don't have to eat what's on the menu.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So and that's helpful. Plus also your your back operation, like you have MICA support, all of that's important to make that transition into Cinch. I haven't bothered him for a month because once he helped us get up and running, but he's there, he's there if you need us, if you need that assistance, which is important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Rob, I
thanks
have
for that.
another question kind of geared towards you. Is how about as you're starting up, like starting the 4-hour shifts? How does that work?
The 4 hour shifts.
Yeah.
Well, we have our caregivers come in that community at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they're there all day till 7 p.m. So, and then 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So I don't know where the 4 hour shifts are in now. We used to have that. We used to have a 7 to like a 3 or 7 to 4, and then a 4 shift to 9 or 5 to 9. But we just recently switched that. And the reason we did is to increase our caregiver pool, where we could draw
Yeah.
caregivers in a 12-hour shift.
Right.
So, yeah, operationally, we just felt like it would be good to do a 12-hour shift in our communities.
Gotcha. Thanks. I think Richard, sorry, I apologize to Richard. I think I kind of misunderstood the question when I was asking it. So it was saying like, as we're starting up, how do you, if you don't have a lot of visits, a lot of hours to charge, how is it that you start that ramp up period? He was saying, do you start with 4-hour shifts, or when you were first getting into the building, how
Oh,
did you start that ramp up? Let me,
okay. What we did is we just simply staffed the caregiver in the building. We had no client, zero. Okay. We had an agreement with the community manager, the director. Listen, come on in. We leased office space from him. We set up our little office space, paid him the first month's rent, and then just started networking in the community. But I had a caregiver scheduled to be in that community at 7 o'clock in the morning. And she was there till, probably 5 during the day. And she would network in the community, do activities, and just be part of that community. That's when the clients started coming. So you got to invest money there to begin because you don't have any
Yeah.
clients, right? And then they just start coming. And then as they start coming, then you have to add that second caregiver. So what we did is we had a 7 to 5 shift, for example. As we started building our client base, then we added a shift. We added a 7 to 12 to help with that morning heavy duty lifting. Right. And then as we started growing, we expanded it from 7 to 12 to 7 to 3. And you do that as you get more clients, then you
Yeah.
need more caregivers, as May briefly said. Eventually you're going to have more caregivers because your clientele is going to be so much. And that scheduling part just kind of grows as you grow.
There is an investment, guys. There is.
Yeah.
When you're starting, but let me give you a case study, and I don't know if May joined us, near and dear property to our
Yeah.
hearts,
yeah, she's back.
Waltonwood, May. Um, we never really got the short visit model working at this beautiful property in Raleigh. But because we did what Rob did, and we said, we'll be there for short visit, we got 24/7s, we got referrals.
Yeah.
And so you're in the red here, but you're in the black here. So you got to look at the big picture for the community. And it was fascinating. We were way in the black, but our short visit model never really panned out. It was very sporadic.
Yeah.
It's just very odd to us. But so it's not just one thing. You get into community, you might find other opportunities and they think favorably, but
Yeah.
it's an investment, as Rob's saying. You're kind of making a commitment
Yeah,
to
for me, I don't mind to share. For me, that first 6 clients, I'm losing money. That first 6 clients in that community, I'm losing money. I'm not interested in 6 clients, or I'm not going to be in that building when there's 120 in that building. Okay. So that's the mindset I went in there with. You know, I'm not looking at 6, I'm looking at 20, 30. Um, so yeah, there is an investment part of that, especially on my end, the way I have it set up. I have daily charge. You know, you get a certain amount of attention per day. So I understood that going into it, that you know it's going to be 6 based on my labor. I need to get 6 clients to break even. After that, now we're in the black.
Great. Okay, Micah, is that, did we get the, I know we're, is there any more questions? Go ahead and fire
Yeah.
away.
How difficult is it for the caregivers to have to use two systems?
Oh, well, I'll tell you,
Not,
that's another concern I thought I would
not
have.
at all.
Not at all. Not at all. No,
Cool.
they literally clock in using WellScout when they get to the community. They clock in, then they just go to the other app and then they click it and there they go. They're going to their data management system at that point, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Great. I
I
mean,
think the other part of that, I think the other part of that is that everyone is so used to using apps on their phones and toggling and switching back and forth. You know, it's not an issue at all.
thank you for
Yeah,
that
and
question.
the
Go ahead, Mike.
caregivers are used to using. Oh, sorry. The caregivers are used to using apps anyway. So it's any facility or home care that they work at, they're using an app of some sort. So it's just another app that they'll be using. And everybody now uses cell phones or apps, so it's not a big deal at all.
Great.
Great. We have one more great question. With the caregiver shortage, how does the community care model help with recruiting?
Rob or May, you want to speak to that?
May or May. Yeah, guys, any comment to that? Has it helped you recruiting?
Well, for me, it has
It
because
has,
the caregivers like that steady shift, as Gina mentioned early. You know, they like coming into that one community, and then they see that we're organized. We have this system, and people love systems at work. So they love the long shifts. They love working in that community, being a part of it. And not only do they get to work in that community, but then they have something that makes their job easier. So yeah, as far as recruiting, it's been a good thing for us there.
and the same for us. And with home care, clients can die, so a caregiver will lose hours. With community care, if one client leaves, they still have that hour, the hours that they were working for that week. So that's how we kind of explain it. One client dies, we're going to get another one, and your hours will still be the same. They also build rapport with the clients and the community members in the staff members in the community. So that helps too. They go to one facility, they might see 10 to 12 clients, but they are there all day or whatever their shift times are, and they actually enjoy working in the community because it's easy for them. And they have a team of other caregivers that they can go for support as well.
Yeah.
Great question. Whoever asked that
Yeah.
question, we appreciate that because yeah, it brought all kinds of benefits to us and team morale, caregiver sat, and recruiting. We could recruit for traditional home care, community-based care, staffing, pay them higher. Yeah, and it just has this ripple effect on your business, and it differentiates you from. Let's face it, there's a lot of home care agencies out there right now. They're battling out for this same pool. This diversifies you and it brings you into additional ops. So I know I heard our grandfather clock chime, so we're around that last minute. Um, Real quick, there's a couple of new things on our site. We dedicated this whole section, Evaluate Cinch, to you guys. I'm calling someone trying to make an introduction of us to be a valuable resource and partner. The Evaluate Cinch kind of tells the story. It has real life benchmarks of time savings, ROI, and so forth, and encourage it, including a short demo of Cinch. And then we just released our Cinch OS. We want to give back our knowledge. We love making people successful. And so we have a series of consulting offerings, whether you're new to community care to get you ready, to your veteran and want kind of a self-check. And that's under our Cinch OS. And we have now a pricing section of our website where full disclosure, it costs X and this is it, the way it is. But one of the things we hope that gives people confidence is our guarantee. We feel so strongly about what we've done here. We built this based on Aware. We know it works, and we're behind it. You know, so if someone's new working with us and after 45 days, it's like, you know what, this isn't working for me. You got it. You know, it's all about you. So that's kind of the recap there. I don't know if you saw the emails, but Rob and May were kind enough to say if you want to reach out to them, we're no middleman. They're just awesome. Email Rob, fire and May questions. You know, it's a camaraderie. I know we work for different franchises, all that, but we're all trying to help our seniors, and in the end, we're all teammates. So I encourage you to reach out to them, and you know, I really really appreciate what you all doing. If you want to add anything,
I was just gonna say, we are working on some integrations with some of the major players. So that information, when that's gonna be done, will be coming soon.
yeah. Well, you know what's going to drive that is you guys. Feel free to. We hope that we get a following, whether it's ERSP. We have WellSky users, we have ERSP users, we have Alaya Care users, Access Care users. Those are just, I think that kind of
Yeah.
covers it. Common theme is they're doing like Rob and we did initially, Excel spreadsheets and that to manage the community. So there's cost savings there, but it doesn't really matter what platform it is. There's like I said, a uniformity of how things are done, and we can work side by side. But sure, we hope that customers grab on the cinch and then say, hey, we need to integrate to this, because then we can bring the two together and have a really powerful solution.
Yeah.
Like we are headed with WellSky. That's going to happen. So listen, feel free to reach out to us. We're here for you, questions, but thank you for taking an hour out of your busy schedules. We know what it's like to be home care agency owners and allocating that time. So thank you very much. And we'll look forward to hearing from you and hopefully contributing to your success.
Thank you, May.
And Rob and May,
Yeah.
God bless you and thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.